All right, well, I am testing out a microphone system that works on my phone. See whether or not I can actually start going live. Again, had a lot of problems with cameras, microphones. The microphone on my phone quit working. I can kind of use one of my older phones, but not as well as I should. So I'm trying out this. Hopefully, I have sound. Like I said, it's just a test. Maybe some people will pop in here, maybe they won't. We'll see. No, I'm trying to get back into trying to do some lives, like maybe one a week, maybe two. Hopefully, this microphone system will work for me. In general, I've been doing a lot of gardening, battling it out with the grass. Decided that this year I am going to kill off a lot of the grass. I am solarizing the area, one area at a time, with a large tarp. Hi, Robert. So I'm solarizing different parts of my yard with a large tarp to get rid of the invasives that have moved in. I have quite a few invasives that have made it extremely difficult to keep the yard in order. One of them is called coggin grass. Locally, it is called bullgrass. This stuff grows a foot or more in a week. It's extremely difficult to keep your yard looking halfway decent when the grass can grow more than a foot in a week. I've got other invasives. I have a flower that I let grow intentionally when I first saw it because it's in the hibiscus family. It is absolutely one of the biggest mistakes I ever made. This thing pops up everywhere. So I've got to wipe that out. I've got a couple of vines that are a real big issue. One of which is actually useful, but the other one is completely deadly toxic. So I have Jamaican Jamaican pea, rosary pea, extremely poisonous. Eating just one of its seeds will kill a person. So I'm trying to get rid of those, and their seeds are everywhere. And the other is what is it called? Virginia creeper. And it shouldn't be too hard to get the Virginia creeper in order once I have everything else in order. So the general idea for what I'm planning on doing is this here is a bag of wildflowers for Florida. And I think I already put them away. I have uh, 7 different types of uh, creeping thyme that I've got my hands on. That's for this fall. I'm going to get another plant. What is that one called? It's a native Florida plant. Hi, Josh. Uh, Sunshine mimosa. It's a nitrogen fixer, native to the area, and it's a ground cover. It'll grow across the ground. Most people know it as a sensitive plant. So I'm hoping to get a bulk bag of seed of that. We'll see. Seed isn't cheap like it used to be. Um, I've got a small patch of a dwarf grass that is used primarily on golf courses around here that I brought here accidentally, and it's growing in a shaded spot because it's a more tolerant to the cooler temperatures. I'm hoping to be able to pull out some plugs of that and get it going in some trays and basically make a few pieces of sod and get that in the backyard. Because it doesn't grow, it's a dwarf grass, it only grows 4 to 6 inches. So it'll never truly need to be mowed. But I've got to kill off everything else. So that's one of my big plans. So in any of my videos this year, if you happen to see this giant tarp laying over an area that keeps moving around, that's because I'm killing that spot. Already started with this in one spot, experimental at this point. It's supposed to be Florida friendly, and it's supposed to be some Florida natives. When I actually read what was in it, I found out that there's some stuff in here that will never grow in my part of Florida. But it does have a lot of stuff that does. It's got 25 species in it. Baby's breath, several different types of coneflower, bachelor buttons, lemon mint, African daisies, toad flax, another type of coneflower, red poppy, will not grow here. Sauropsis, I have quite a few of those, so it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. Another type of red poppy, cosmos. Cosmos do okay here. California poppy will never in a million years actually grow here. Blanket flower does well here. Black-eyed Susan does well here. Purple coneflower does well here. Russell lupin, I have no idea what that is. Siberian wallflower, I seriously doubt it. Blue flax, I have no idea. Scarlet flax, maybe. Annual red phlox, maybe. Bright light cosmos does okay. And some type of daisy, the writing's a little messed up, so I can't tell what the first word is. Hopefully, it'll do okay. Now, can you guys hear me okay? Because I'm trying out this new microphone. If I'm coming through okay, that'd be great. Hopefully I can do okay with killing off all this grass and bringing in other things. Excellent. Thanks, Josh. Thank you. I've been kind of working on a list of what I want in there. I'm high gear, not really 100% sure what all I want to get in there. I know I want to get some type of clover as a ground cover. I want the main area where the kids play to still be grass, and that's where that dwarf grass comes in. But everything else, I want that grass and the invasive gone. Might be biting off more than I can chew. But trying to mow this situation is not really working. I've already had to convert a weed eater into a brush hog. I have to brush hog everything and then come back and mow it. And that's just, it's too much. So I'm just going to kill it. I want to get rid of all the seeds, but I don't want to spray anything unless I have to. And then, even then, it'll have to be, hey, still in ya? It'll have to be something like a vinegar base. I've been experimenting with the vinegar salt mixtures as well. Traditionally, when you do one of those, you use landscaper's vinegar, which is 30 to 70% vinegar, plus salt, a little bit of dish soap, maybe a little bit of orange oil or some type of oil. that stuff got really, really expensive really, really fast after people started posting about how effective it is on Facebook and other mediums. So I'm trying something a little different. You can use household vinegar, but household vinegar has gotten kind of expensive too. Not as bad. But if you want to do any type of distance, I mean, you're going to pay some money. I mean, you're looking at $7 a bottle for a halfway decent vinegar. I went to the Dollar Tree the other day and I got a bottle of their cleaning vinegar. Now, the difference between household vinegar and cleaning vinegar is that they added a little bit of soap to it so that you can't actually use it for food purposes. It's no longer food grade. I mixed up a squirt bottle of it plus salt, little tiny bit of Dawn dishwashing liquid, and I hit some of my most difficult plants just to see if it'd have any effect. And that's the Jamaican pigeon pea that's growing around my well. I don't really want a deadly plant growing around my well. Well, it took it a couple days. That stuff's pretty messed up. It looks like it's dying. I might hit it one more time just to make sure it kills it. I think I'm going to do a video on exactly what it is because this is coming out significantly cheaper. Dollar Tree version, you get a half a gallon for $1.25, and then it's a little more than a half a cup of salt. But I'm not using regular food salt. I bought a big bag of sun crystals for the water softener. It's still salt. Ain't got anything extra added to it. Hi, Gear. Hi, Q. So I mixed up a single squirt bottle and I sprayed 2 spots. One spot is definitely dying faster than the other, but it's still dying, and it's been extremely rainy here for like a week. So it's dying even though it's been rainy and it had to have been washed off by now. Next week's supposed to be a lot drier, so I can put it to a real test. Uh, because I converted my weed eater into a brush hog, means I can't actually use it as a weed eater, which means around the kids' playhouse, the cogging grass and other things have gotten really, really bad. Hi, Larks. So I'm going to mix up another batch of this and spray that, but at $1.25 for a half gallon, which comes out to be $2.50 plus tax for a gallon. It's cheaper than buying it at the grocery store. And the big bag of crystallized salt, I still got to smash it up, which was $6. I should be able to get some distance and maybe hit some of the stuff that has been a serious issue. So I'm planning on making a video on exactly what the mix is and showing how well it works and whether or not it's going to work on that coggin grass, because that stuff is a serious problem in the South. And, well, Roundup and other stuff doesn't really work on it. The only thing I've found so far that actually works on it is to solarize an area and just let the Florida sun cook that area and then go back in and reintroduce what I want there. But you can't do that everywhere. So hopefully this will work out good. I'm glad the microphone is working. Uh, I actually ended up needing a little bit of help when it's supposed to be a plug and play. I took it out of the box, charged it up, plugged it in, and it did nothing. My son-in-law figured it out. No idea what he did, but it's working now. So I'm going to be trying to do this at least once a week. Kids get out of school this week for the summer, so I might have to like shoo them away for an hour. I'll try to do it noonish lunchtime, and then if I'm lucky, I can do it again uh, one night during the week. We'll see how that goes. It depends on how my internet's doing and what everybody else in the house is doing at the time too. But I've got some things going on. Uh, the bugs have shown up early in my garden, so the march of the squash was short, but I got some this year. And there's a lot of years I don't manage to get any squash at all because the bugs kill them immediately. I planted much earlier this year than I normally would. That made a big difference. However, summer rains started earlier. So right now, every bug that eats squash is out there eating them right now. And it doesn't matter what I treat it with, it's just going to get worse off the same day, maybe in an hour or two. So I'm probably going to be pulling those. Although I did just plant another round of pumpkins. I've never grown this type, and I figured I'd try it out. Don't know if it'll grow here. Package says it'll grow here, and it says I'm in the tail end of being able to plant it, so I went ahead and planted some. We'll see how that goes. But it was nice. I already got a pumpkin in this year. Oh, it's only a little guy, but I got a pumpkin so far. I've got a couple of watermelons going. I tell people a lot of times when it comes to gardening down here, overplant. Not joking. For the watermelon, I planted 14 watermelon for an area I know is no bigger than 2 or 3 should be in. And after all is said and done, with it actually establishing, I have 3. I have 3 plants that are just starting to bloom. Not bad. Just you end up using a lot more. Yesterday, I cloned did from cutting, so we'll see how many start. 64 mulberry trees, so I'm hoping those will go really good. Hi, Storm. I'm really hoping those will go really good. Selling mulberry trees is really easy, and starting them is really easy. So I started the one that I like the most. It's called Superior Red Mulberry. It's a hybrid between the native red mulberry and the Pakistani red mulberry. It's a really interesting mulberry, great flavor. It fruits early. It holds fruit longer than the other varieties I do, and the when it's dark red, you can start picking them. And the birds start mulberries for you, Gear. Hopefully, the birds will be starting mulberries around here. It's This area of Florida used to be part of the home range for the native red mulberry. In the 1950s, the U.S. Army engineers came through here and they cut them all down. So the native red one that I have in the backyard, hopefully some will spread from that one. I don't have any males, but they still produce some seed. And I'll tell you, the local birds here really like that mulberry. They probably got about 60% of the mulberries off that tree this year. And I got a lot of mulberries this year. I imagine I'll probably get a significantly larger crop next year because all the mulberry trees are just growing exceedingly fast right now. Uh, just going to trim them, make more mulberry trees. And Storm, your mulberries didn't do good last year. Maybe this year. Um, it's a little bit cooler this year, and a lot of the trees seem to be going through more of a growing cycle than they normally are. The growing cycle works a little different here. It's up north, you got your spring, your summer, and your fall for your growing cycle. Here, we've got our fall, winter, and spring, depending on what you're growing. But every year, a lot of the stone fruits, they go dormant in the summer, just like they would in the winter, except for they don't drop their foliage. They look horrible, they stop growing, and they're just barely holding on. That usually starts about now, and I have quite a few trees, the mulberries and stone fruit, that are just pumping out new growth. Even some of my tropicals are pumping out new growth at a higher level. I'm not sure if it's because of the lower temperatures or from the switch of fertilizer, because I've always used compost teas and whatnot, and I bring in a lot of compost in the form of wood chips. This year I'm making JDAM, and I've used it before, but I have the opportunity to mass produce a simplified version right now. And everything I'm giving that JDAM to is massively improving this year. Uh, I had a 55-gallon drum in the backyard that had a version of JDAM in it, not the JDAM I'm using now, but it was where the chicken coop presently is, and we had to move it. You're not move. It was about half full. You're not moving 25, 30 gallons of water in a barrel, not without more work than is necessary. So we dumped it out. Everything that is in the splash zone of where we dumped that out is massively improved. The blueberries I have over there that have just been struggling are putting on new growth for the first time in 3 years. There is a plum tree over there that's just been struggling, not struggling this year. So really happy with that. I mean, like really, really happy with that. The entire base of this garden system is the fruit trees. The vegetables and stuff are filler, more or less. Fill in the spots. Hopefully, by this time next year, I will have been able to move my nursery area from being in front of the house. I don't really like it out there, to behind the house, and I'll have enough shade. Hopefully. Now, I had an oak tree back there when I first moved in, and that was my nursery area. It was underneath that oak tree. We had to cut it down. It had heart rot. Hi, Muppet. Well, since then, the only good shade I had is on the north side of the house, close to the house. So that's my nursery area. And on the east side of the house, before they cut the woods down that was next door, was relatively shaded, and that was a nursery area. So the big mulberry in the back is almost big enough that if I trim it at this point, I might be able to set up a nursery area underneath it. It'll drop all its leaves in the winter. I'll put them back on before it gets hot, which is a lot of work okay. And the avocado tree I have back there from seed, that's putting on some serious growth this year. It's almost doubled in size in the last 3 months. So hopefully and I just trimmed it so that'll put more into going up, because I don't want a bush, I want a tree. Hopefully it'll start producing a reasonable amount of shade soon. And see if I can figure out a way to get at least one of the old trucks in the backyard out of there and open up that spot. That'd be nice. Hi, JH. So that's kind of where things are. And it's nice to actually have something that, people can hear me. So if you guys have been wondering why I've been having trouble with lives, it's cameras and microphones. I'm doing this on my cell phone because the webcam on my computer doesn't work. I've bought several of them. They work for a very short period of time. The microphone on my phone broke. I've bought several. This one's something new. So I'm giving it a try. I'm also um, been working on my TikTok account. Just been kind of something I threw some things over there every once in a while, and I went from 160 ish subscribers to 4,000. So at this point, it might be worth my time to work on that. So I might be doing some live streams over there. Different format. It's got to be in the up and down format, not side to side format. But I'm posting over there, and it's doing all right. Um, I'm gaining a lot faster over there than I ever did on YouTube. I'm doing better on Facebook than I'm doing on YouTube. Not subscriber wise, but I'm monetized over there, which I've never even. It's just been a nightmare trying to do that on YouTube. I really can't up to the hours and then bottom. And it really seems like they do it intentionally. And I think they do it intentionally to a lot of people. I have video evidence of them not counting views. I had a friend that stopped by and said, "Hey, I've got your live that you did the other day playing." I was like, "Cool." Hopped on my laptop where I could see the real time ticker that shows you exactly what video is playing. It wasn't being counted. How many thousands and thousands of hours have been stolen from creators? I can only imagine. I started documenting it. I've got hours of footage of exactly that. Using somebody else's phone. If you play a playlist and it plays more than 4 or 5 of them, they stop counting them. How much has been stolen? I mean, it's just crazy to think about it because we don't have any definite way of going, hey, I've got all these views but didn't get paid for it. I've got proof that they weren't counting my views. And if they weren't counting my views, how many others have they done that to? Strangely enough, I'm being treated better on Facebook by Facebook. I mean, really, it's Facebook. I'm monetized on Facebook, and they did it like that. It's so weird. At the rate I'm growing on TikTok, I'll probably be monetized within 6 months on TikTok. Things you might want to consider. When I started on this journey, it was basically to start documenting things, hoping that I might be able to be monetized. I've met a lot of really good people on here, and a few very questionable people. Not going to mention those. But I don't really see, unless something major changes, that YouTube is going to let me monetize. I'm near 100% sure I'm going to be monetized on TikTok at no time at all. I was talking with a few other people I know that are YouTubers. Yes, Robert, you are definitely questionable, but that's okay. No, there are some people that I've had relationships with through YouTube since way back at the beginning. Good people. One of them has been monetized nearly 5 years on YouTube. Doesn't really do all that much. He started live streaming his fishing stream, because he's a fisherman, on TikTok and Facebook at the same time. Not sure how he does that. He told me he'll tell me how that works, but we didn't have much time to talk. But he's making significantly more off of TikTok live streaming than he did in 5 years on YouTube. He has made the same amount of money on TikTok in 4 months. I don't even know what to think about that. Yeah, Jay, there's always questionable people everywhere. If I walk outside, there's some seriously questionable people within 30 yards of my house. Fortunately, they usually leave me alone. But you got to take time to realize which ones are worth the time and which ones aren't. Sometimes telling the difference isn't all that easy. But never judge them by what they look like, judge them by what they do. A person's actions will tell you tremendously more than their words will. Hi, Joe. Thanks for coming in. Actually, probably going to be wrapping this up in the next few minutes because I got to get ready to go get the kids. It's the last week of school here, and the last 3 days of school are all early release, so I have to pick them up just a little bit after 1 o'clock. And that should be about now. I have an alarm set, it hasn't gone off yet. But I will be back on. I've got new lights. I've got me a ring light, a little tripod with a little light, and I've got two of these rechargeable lights that I use for fishing that mount on the same camera tripods that I use for everything else. So I see more live streams coming in the future, and more fishing live streams coming in the future. I know that's not my main thing, but it does tie in. This garden is fish powered this year, almost entirely fish powered this year. I've only made like 1 gallon of worm tea this year. I've made no other compost tea. It's all either me burying fish or making fish J-Dam. So, fish powered garden. Everyone, thank you very much for coming. I'm going to have to get off of here at this point. Thank you. You have a great day.